My beloved child, something is shifting in the unseen space between you and someone you once knew, and tonight, you were meant to hear this. Pause for a second. Feel that quiet pull in your chest. That subtle memory that returned out of nowhere. That name you haven't spoken in months, maybe even years. It is not random. Someone from your past is thinking about you right now. Not casually. Not lightly. Deeply. And before you scroll, don't skip this moment. Because something huge is waiting for you inside this message. There was a connection between you and this person that never fully closed. You may have walked away. Circumstances may have changed. Time may have created distance. But energy does not forget. Late at night, when the world goes silent, your name crosses their mind. Not as a passing thought. As a question. As a what if. As a feeling they cannot explain. You might think they moved on completely. But here is the truth. They compare people to you. They measure conversations against the way you used to laugh. They remember a specific moment, something small, something simple, that suddenly feels bigger now than it ever did before. Stay till the end, because this is only the beginning of what is unfolding. This person is not just remembering you. They are realizing something. They are realizing that what you shared was rare. Not perfect. Not flawless. But real. And in a world full of surface-level interactions, real connections echo long after they end. There was something unfinished between you. Not unfinished in drama. Unfinished in meaning. A conversation that never happened. An apology that was never spoken. A truth that was never fully revealed. And now, something inside them is stirring. You may have felt it recently, a sudden urge to check their profile, a dream where they appeared unexpectedly, a memory that hit without warning. That is not coincidence. Energy reconnects before people do. But here is the part you didn't expect. This moment is not just about them thinking about you. It is about you becoming someone they cannot ignore anymore. You have changed. You have grown. Your silence became strength. Your absence became power. Your distance became clarity. And somewhere, in the quiet, they can feel it. Something about you feels different now. More grounded. More self-assured. More aligned. And that shift, it's pulling their attention back toward you. But listen carefully. This is not about chasing. This is not about proving. This is not about reopening old wounds. This is about awareness. Awareness that what you shared left a mark. Awareness that connections with depth don't simply disappear. Awareness that sometimes, the past circles back when you are finally ready for it. Don't skip what's happening inside you right now. Because as you hear these words, something inside you is confirming it. You know exactly who this is about. And here's the revelation that changes everything. They don't just miss you. They respect who you became after them. That transformation, it didn't go unnoticed. And in the next part, you will understand why this realization is happening now, and what it truly means for your future. Stay close. Because something huge is waiting for you. There is a reason their memory feels louder now than it did yesterday. Something has shifted on their side. A moment happened, small, ordinary, almost invisible to the world, but powerful enough to shake them awake. Maybe it was a familiar song playing unexpectedly. Maybe it was walking past a place that still carries your echo. Maybe it was meeting someone new and realizing, it doesn't feel the same. And suddenly, you were there again in their thoughts. Clear. Vivid, unavoidable. Don't skip this part, because what you're about to understand changes the entire meaning of your past. They are not just remembering the good times. They are seeing the truth now. They see where they misunderstood you. They see where they hesitated. They see where pride or timing got in the way. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime realization that is hitting them. You were not ordinary in their life. You were pivotal. You were the turning point they didn't recognize when they had it. Stay till the end, because this next layer is deeper than you think. When you left, or when distance formed, something in them went quiet. At first, they told themselves it was fine. That life moves on. That people come and go. But as time passed, they began noticing something strange. No one challenges them the way you did. No one understands their silence the way you did. No one feels like home in the same effortless way. And that awareness is not comfortable. It's humbling. Because now they are looking back, not with ego, but with clarity. And here's what makes this moment powerful for you. You are not the same person they once knew. You evolved. You healed in places they never saw. You rebuilt parts of yourself in silence. You became someone who no longer waits for validation. And that energy? It travels. Even without words, even without contact, growth sends a signal. Something huge is waiting for you, and it begins with this: you are no longer chasing closure. You are attracting reflection. They are thinking about you not because you reached out, but because your absence matured into something magnetic. And now a question is forming in their heart. What if they misjudged the timing? What if they misunderstood the depth? What if the connection wasn't meant to end, only to pause? This is not about fantasy. This is about emotional awakening. The kind that arrives quietly, but changes everything. You may feel a subtle pull these days. A softness when you think of them instead of tension. A curiosity instead of pain. That shift inside you is important. Because sometimes, when two people grow separately, they begin to resonate again at a higher level. And in the next part, you'll discover whether this reflection leads to silence, or to movement. Stay present. Because this story between you and them is not finished yet. Right now, while you are listening to this, a decision is quietly forming in their heart. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. But it is real. For a long time, they convinced themselves that the chapter with you was closed. That silence meant finality. That distance meant destiny had moved on. But something unexpected has happened. They tried to forget you, and instead, they understood you. They revisited old conversations in their mind. They replayed the way you looked at them when you truly listened. They remembered how safe it felt to be seen without pretending. And the shocking truth that is settling into them is this: they did not lose just a person. They lost a rare alignment. Don't skip this moment, because something huge is waiting for you in what comes next. There is a difference between missing someone and realizing their value. Missing is emotional. Value is awakening. And they are no longer just missing you. They are recognizing what you represented in their life: clarity, depth, authenticity. You were not simply part of their past. You were a mirror. A mirror that showed them who they could be. A mirror that reflected their potential. A mirror that gently exposed their fears. And when you stepped away, that mirror disappeared. Stay till the end, because this is where the energy begins to shift toward you. Recently, they felt an urge, subtle but undeniable, to reach out. Not impulsively. Not casually. Carefully. They hesitated at first. Pride whispered. Doubt questioned. Time created uncertainty. But growth changes people. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime realization that is unfolding. They are no longer afraid of what they felt for you. In the past, intensity may have overwhelmed them. Depth may have intimidated them. Vulnerability may have confused them. Now it attracts them. Because they have grown too. Life has humbled them in quiet ways. Experience has softened their edges. Silence has taught them what noise never could. And in that maturity, your name feels different. It no longer feels like nostalgia. It feels like unfinished purpose. You might be wondering, will they actually move? Here is the truth you need to hear. Whether they reach out tomorrow or next month is not the most powerful part. The most powerful part is this: the balance has shifted. You are no longer the one wondering if you mattered. They are. And that shift changes the entire energy between you. Something huge is waiting for you, not because of what they will do, but because of who you have become. You are no longer attached to an outcome. You are aligned with your worth. And when someone from your past begins thinking about you from a place of clarity instead of confusion, the universe creates space for movement. In the next part, you will understand the sign that reveals whether this connection is about to reappear physically, or transform into something even greater. Stay aware. Because this story is approaching its turning point. A quiet signal is about to reveal itself, and if you are paying attention, you will recognize it instantly. Not through noise. Not through grand gestures. Through subtle alignment. You may notice their name appearing unexpectedly. A mutual friend mentioning them without knowing why. A dream that feels more vivid than imagination. A memory resurfacing at the exact moment you feel strongest. These are not random fragments. They are echoes responding to movement. Don't skip this part, because something huge is waiting for you inside this realization. When two people are truly connected, distance does not erase the thread. It stretches. It matures. It tests. But it does not vanish. And right now, that thread is tightening again. Here is the surprising truth. They are not just thinking about reaching out. They are rehearsing it. They imagine what they would say. They replay possible conversations. They wonder how you would respond, calm, distant, warm, unreadable. But what holds them still is not pride anymore. It is awareness. They know you are not the same version they once left. And that both excites and humbles them. Stay till the end, because this next layer changes everything. The real turning point is not whether they send a message. The real turning point is whether you still feel aligned with them. Because here is the revelation you didn't expect. You are no longer waiting. There is a new steadiness inside you. If they come back, you will listen, but you will not lose yourself. If they speak, you will hear, but you will not shrink. If they apologize, you will accept, but you will not forget your growth. And that energy shift is powerful. Sometimes, when someone from your past begins thinking about you deeply, it is not to restart the same story. It is to write a different ending. Or to finally close the chapter with clarity instead of confusion. You may feel calm as you hear this. That calm is your answer. Because when longing turns into peace, you are no longer controlled by memory. You are guided by wisdom. Something huge is waiting for you, but it is not just a reunion. It is alignment. If they return, it will be because both of you evolved. If they remain silent, it will be because the lesson completed its purpose. Either way, you win. Because you have already transformed. And in the final part, you will discover the one sign that confirms whether this connection is about to re-enter your life, or elevate you towards something even greater. Stay present. The next moment decides everything. The final sign does not arrive with noise, it arrives with certainty. Not certainty about them. Certainty about you. Listen closely. If this connection is meant to re-enter your life, it will not feel chaotic. It will not feel rushed. It will not feel like you are trying to force a door open. It will feel calm. That is the sign. Because when someone from your past is truly thinking about you in a mature, awakened way, the energy between you becomes steady instead of overwhelming. Don't skip this moment. Something huge is waiting for you in what you are about to understand. If they reach out, you will not feel desperate. You will feel grounded. If they apologize, you will not feel triumphant. You will feel clear. If they express what they never said before, you will not feel confused. You will feel aligned. And here is the shocking, once-in-a-lifetime revelation. The connection was never meant to teach you how to hold on to someone. It was meant to teach you how to become someone. Someone who knows their worth. Someone who does not beg for clarity. Someone who can walk away without bitterness. Someone who can welcome someone back without losing dignity. This is why they are thinking about you now. Because the version of you they remember is not the version that exists anymore. You have elevated. And elevation changes everything. Stay till the end, because this is where the story truly turns. Sometimes, when a person from your past begins thinking about you deeply, it is a crossroads moment for both of you. They are deciding whether to step forward with courage. You are deciding whether the door still feels right. But here is what makes this powerful. You no longer need them to complete the story. You are complete. If they return, it will be a choice, not a need. If they stay silent, it will be peace, not loss. That is growth. That is transformation. And that is why you were meant to hear this message. Because whether they appear tomorrow or months from now, the real miracle already happened. You became the person they cannot forget. Something huge is waiting for you, not in chasing the past, but in standing so confidently in your present that the right future has no choice but to align with you. And if you feel that quiet strength rising inside you right now, that is the sign. The story was never about them coming back. It was about you becoming unforgettable. And just when you thought the story had reached its conclusion, a deeper truth begins to rise. Close your eyes for a second and feel this. This person from your past is not only thinking about you. They are questioning their own silence. They are asking themselves why they let distance grow. Why they stayed quiet when their heart was not. Why they assumed time would erase something that was never ordinary. Don't skip this moment. Because something huge is waiting for you inside this realization. There comes a point when memory turns into responsibility. When someone realizes that what they felt was real, and that they may have walked away too soon. And here is the revelation that changes everything. They are no longer blaming circumstances. They are reflecting on themselves. That shift is powerful. It means the energy between you is no longer tangled in confusion. It is clearing. You may feel an unusual sense of peace lately when you think of them. Not longing. Not resentment. Not urgency. Just calm. That calm is not detachment. It is strength. Stay till the end, because this is where your power becomes undeniable. You are no longer waiting for closure from them. You created your own. And when someone senses that you have emotionally moved forward without bitterness, something inside them awakens. Because growth is magnetic. They can feel that you are not reaching back. And that absence of pursuit creates space for reflection. Here is the once-in-a-lifetime realization. Sometimes the reason someone from your past is thinking about you so deeply is not to return to who you were, but to meet who you are now. If they step forward, it will be with awareness. If they speak, it will be with sincerity. If they remain silent, it will be because the lesson fulfilled its purpose. Either way, you are no longer in the same emotional position. You are centered. You are grounded. You are whole. And that is the true turning point of this entire journey. Something huge is waiting for you, not just in whether they come back, but in how effortlessly you now stand in your own value. Because the most powerful part of this story is not that they are thinking about you. It is that you no longer need them to. And that is what makes you unforgettable. At this very moment, without you saying a single word, the connection is reaching its quiet climax. You feel it, don't you? That subtle shift. That sense that something invisible has completed its circle. This person from your past is thinking about you not with confusion anymore, but with clarity. And clarity changes the entire story. Don't skip this part, because something huge is waiting for you in what you're about to understand. There is a difference between remembering someone and recognizing their impact. They are recognizing yours. They see now that you were not just a chapter. You were a catalyst. A mirror. A moment that shaped them in ways they are only beginning to comprehend. And here is the surprising truth. Even if they never say it out loud, you altered their path. The way they approach love. The way they handle silence. The way they reflect before walking away. Your presence left a blueprint. Stay till the end, because this is where your power becomes undeniable. You might think the story depends on whether they message you, call you, or show up unexpectedly. But the real turning point has already happened. They respect you. Not in a nostalgic way. Not in a sentimental way. In a grounded, mature way. They understand that losing you was not casual. It was consequential. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime realization that ties everything together. The reason you were meant to hear this message is not to prepare you for their return. It is to free you from wondering if you mattered. You did. You do. And you always will. Something huge is waiting for you, not in replaying the past, but in stepping forward without doubt. Because when someone from your past thinks about you with respect instead of regret, admiration instead of avoidance, clarity instead of confusion, the universe has already restored your balance. If they return, it will be because the timing aligns with who you are now. If they don't, it will be because someone even more aligned is approaching your life. Either way, you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are remembered with depth. And as this chapter closes in understanding rather than uncertainty, you can breathe differently. Lighter. Stronger. Certain. Because the greatest revelation was never about them coming back. It was about you realizing you were never easy to replace. And that truth changes everything. Tonight, something invisible completes its final transformation between you and them. Not a dramatic ending. Not a sudden message. But a shift so powerful that it rewrites the meaning of your past. This person from your past is thinking about you, and for the first time, it is not mixed with confusion, ego, or unfinished emotion. It is pure recognition. Don't skip this moment, because something huge is waiting for you inside this final revelation. They now understand that meeting you was not random. It was necessary. Necessary for their growth. Necessary for their awakening. Necessary for the version of themselves they are becoming. And here is the shocking truth that most people never get to realize. You were never meant to chase this connection. You were meant to outgrow it. And in outgrowing it, you became unforgettable. Stay till the end, because this is where the story reaches its highest point. You might have once wondered if you were too much. Too deep. Too emotional. Too honest. Too intense. Now they realize. You were simply aligned with something they were not ready to handle at the time. That is not rejection. That is timing. And timing matures people. Some connections return when both people rise to the same level. Others serve as sacred catalysts that prepare you for something even greater. But here is what makes this moment powerful. You are no longer defined by how it ended. You are defined by how you evolved. They think about you because you represented authenticity in a world where authenticity is rare. They think about you because you loved with clarity, not games. They think about you because you walked away with dignity instead of chaos. And that leaves a permanent impression. Something huge is waiting for you, not because the past is reopening, but because your future is aligning. If they reappear, you will meet them as your highest self. If they remain a memory, you will carry no weight. That is freedom. That is power. That is transformation. And the final truth you were meant to hear is this. You were never forgotten. You were respected in silence. You were remembered in growth. You were honored in reflection. This person from your past is thinking about you, not to pull you backward, but because your impact moved them forward. And as you step into what comes next, you do so with something rare. Certainty. The certainty that you were always significant. And that changes everything. There is one final layer you have not seen yet, and it changes the entire meaning of why they are thinking about you now. This is not just reflection. It is realization. Somewhere, in a quiet moment, they admitted something to themselves they never had the courage to admit before. You were not temporary in their life. You were transformative. And that kind of impact does not fade with time. Don't skip this, because something huge is waiting for you in this last revelation. When someone from your past thinks about you after growth, after distance, after experience, it means the connection survived evolution. They have met new people. They have experienced different energies. They have walked through lessons that matured them. And through all of it, one truth remained consistent. What you shared felt different. Not louder. Not dramatic. Different. It had depth. It had substance. It had presence. Stay till the end, because this is where everything aligns. Here is the shocking realization that completes this story. They are not just thinking about who you were. They are wondering who you are now. And that curiosity is powerful. Because curiosity opens doors that pride once kept closed. But here is the most important truth of all. You are no longer waiting at that door. You are walking your own path. And if they decide to step forward, it will not be because you pulled them back. It will be because your growth inspired them forward. Something huge is waiting for you. Not in reliving the past, but in witnessing how far you have come from it. This person from your past is thinking about you, yes. But the real miracle is this. You are thinking about yourself differently now. With confidence. With calm. With clarity. And that shift is permanent. If they reach out, you will respond from strength. If they stay silent, you will continue rising. Because the final revelation is not about reunion. It is about recognition. You recognize your worth. They recognize your impact. And when recognition replaces uncertainty, the story no longer feels unfinished. It feels complete. And that completion is what makes you unstoppable from this moment forward. This is the moment where everything becomes clear. Not because they finally speak. Not because a message suddenly appears. But because you no longer need proof to understand your impact. Somewhere tonight, they paused. In the middle of their routine, in the middle of their thoughts, in the middle of becoming who they are now, they felt your presence in memory again. And this time, it did not bring confusion. It brought gratitude. Don't skip this, because something huge is waiting for you in this final awakening. They are grateful they met you. Grateful for the way you challenged them. Grateful for the honesty you carried. Grateful for the depth that once felt overwhelming but now feels rare. That kind of gratitude changes the energy forever. Because when someone from your past thinks about you with appreciation instead of uncertainty, the story transforms. It is no longer about what went wrong. It is about what went right. Stay till the end, because here is the revelation that seals everything. You were never meant to be a lesson they forget. You were meant to be a standard they remember. Every connection after you has quietly been compared to what you represented. Not in competition. In awareness. And here is the most powerful truth of all. You have reached a place where their thoughts about you no longer control your peace. You are steady. You are elevated. You are aligned. If they return, it will be to meet a version of you that knows exactly who they are. If they remain part of your past, they will still carry the imprint of who you were in their life. Either way, your value remains untouched. Something huge is waiting for you. Not in waiting for them, but in stepping fully into the future that is unfolding around you. This person from your past is thinking about you. But now, you understand why. Because you were never ordinary in their journey. And you are no longer questioning your place in it. That clarity is your closure. That strength is your transformation. And from this point forward, you do not look back with longing. You look forward with certainty. Just when you believed the transformation was complete, one final realization rises to the surface. This is not about them anymore. It is about destiny rearranging itself around the person you have become. Somewhere in their quiet reflection, they finally understood something that once felt impossible to admit. Losing you changed them. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a way the world could see. But internally. They think more carefully now. They speak more honestly now. They hesitate before walking away from something meaningful now. Your absence refined them. Don't skip this moment, because something huge is waiting for you inside this truth. When someone from your past thinks about you and recognizes your impact without bitterness, without denial, without ego, it means the connection reached completion at a higher level. It means the lesson became wisdom. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation. You were not just part of their story. You were a turning point in it. That kind of significance does not disappear. It evolves. Stay till the end, because this is where your journey takes its most powerful turn. You once may have wondered if you were too open, too sincere, too emotionally available. Now you understand. You were simply ahead. Ahead in emotional awareness. Ahead in honesty. Ahead in understanding what real connection requires. And sometimes, when two people meet at different levels of readiness, distance becomes the bridge that allows both to grow. Now the bridge is complete. Whether they cross it or not no longer defines your path. Something huge is waiting for you, not in their return, but in your expansion. Because here is the final awakening. You are no longer seeking validation from the past. You are attracting alignment for your future. They think about you because your presence awakens something real inside them. But you move forward because you awaken something even greater inside yourself. And that is the ultimate power. You were meant to hear this, not to reopen old doors, but to walk forward knowing you were never insignificant. You were pivotal. And from this moment on, your story continues not with uncertainty, but with undeniable strength. There is a final truth unfolding in silence, and it is more powerful than any message they could ever send. This is the part no one talks about. The part where the energy between two people does not pull them backward, it blesses them forward. Right now, as they think about you, something inside them feels settled. Not restless. Not confused. Settled. They are no longer replaying the past to fix it. They are honoring it for what it gave them. Don't skip this moment, because something huge is waiting for you inside this final realization. You were never meant to stay small in their memory. You were meant to rise in it. And that is exactly what has happened. They remember your strength. They remember your depth. They remember the way you stood firm even when it was difficult. And here is the shocking, beautiful truth. They see you as the one who got away, not because you disappeared, but because you refused to abandon your standards. That realization changes everything. Stay till the end, because this is where your story fully transforms. The title was never just about them thinking about you. It was about why. They think about you because you set a standard that time could not lower. They think about you because you walked away with grace instead of chaos. They think about you because your growth made them reflect on their own. But the greatest revelation is this. You are no longer defined by how someone else remembers you. You are defined by who you have become. Something huge is waiting for you, not hidden in the past, but unfolding in front of you. The connection served its purpose. It awakened you. It strengthened you. It refined you. And now, whether this person steps back into your life or remains part of your journey's foundation, you stand unchanged in your worth. This is not a story about reunion. It is a story about recognition. They recognize your impact. You recognize your value. And when both sides awaken in that way, the universe quietly smiles. Because the connection was never wasted. It was transformative. And from this moment forward, you move not with questions, but with certainty. A new chapter is forming in the unseen, and this time, it is centered entirely around your power. Pause and feel this carefully. The reason this person from your past is still thinking about you is not unfinished business. It is unfinished admiration. They admire the way you handled the ending. They admire the way you rebuilt without noise. They admire the way you never begged for understanding. And admiration lingers longer than emotion. Don't skip this moment, because something huge is waiting for you in this final layer of truth. There comes a rare point in life when someone looks back not with regret, but with respect. That is where they are now. They no longer see you as someone who slipped away. They see you as someone who stood out. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation. Your silence spoke louder than any argument ever could. When you stopped explaining yourself. When you stopped chasing clarity. When you stopped trying to be understood by someone who wasn't ready. You shifted the entire dynamic. Stay till the end, because this realization changes everything about how this story ends. They think about you because you represented emotional maturity before they fully understood it. You chose peace over proving a point. You chose dignity over drama. You chose growth over going in circles. And that choice elevated you. Something huge is waiting for you, not because the past is pulling you back, but because your standards are pulling the right energy forward. If they reach out now, it will not be to test you. It will be to meet you where you stand. If they remain a memory, it will not be because you were forgettable. It will be because your role in their evolution was already complete. And here is the deepest truth of all. You no longer need to wonder if you mattered. You no longer need signs to confirm your impact. You feel it. You know it. You carry it. This person from your past is thinking about you because you left an imprint that growth could not erase. But the greater miracle is this. You have moved beyond needing their realization to validate your worth. And that is the final transformation. From this moment forward, you do not look back hoping. You look ahead knowing. Knowing that you were significant. Knowing that you are aligned. Knowing that whatever comes next will meet you at the level you have risen to. And that level is unshakable. There is one final wave of understanding rising now, and it carries a truth you were always meant to discover. This person from your past is not thinking about you by accident. They are thinking about you because your absence revealed your value in a way your presence never could. Let that sink in. When you were there, your consistency felt natural. Your loyalty felt expected. Your depth felt familiar. But when you stepped out, the contrast became undeniable. Don't skip this moment, because something huge is waiting for you inside this realization. They have come to understand that what you offered was not common. It was intentional. It was thoughtful. It was rare. And here is the shocking revelation that ties everything together. You were never competing for their attention. You were setting the standard for it. Now, every connection they encounter is unconsciously measured against the calm strength you carried. Not because you were perfect, but because you were authentic. Stay till the end, because this is where your journey transcends the past completely. There is a quiet humility inside them now. They see how you handled misunderstanding without cruelty. How you accepted distance without chaos. How you walked away without destroying what once mattered. That kind of composure leaves a permanent impression. Something huge is waiting for you, not in waiting for their message, but in realizing that your impact has already been delivered. The reason this title speaks so deeply is because you were meant to know something powerful. You were not overlooked. You were observed. You were not forgotten. You were remembered in growth. You were not replaced. You were respected in silence. And that respect carries weight. If they ever step back into your life, it will not be from impulse. It will be from awareness. If they do not, it will not diminish your value. It will confirm that your role in their evolution was complete. The final transformation is this. You no longer look back to see if they are thinking about you. You move forward knowing they are. And that knowledge does not inflate your ego. It strengthens your peace. Because you understand now. You were always the unforgettable one. And from this moment forward, your story expands beyond memory into destiny. What if I told you that this entire journey was never about them returning, but about you rising? Take a breath and feel the weight of that. This person from your past is thinking about you, yes. But not because the universe wants to rewind your story. It is because your evolution became undeniable. Somewhere inside their reflection, they reached a conclusion that surprised even them. You were not just someone they once cared about. You were the moment that changed their emotional standards forever. Don't skip this, because something huge is waiting for you in this final awakening. They now understand that what you offered was stability without control, love without pressure, presence without games. And that combination is rare. The shocking truth is this. You were ahead of your time in their life. You showed them a version of connection they were not yet prepared to maintain. But now, they are prepared. Stay till the end, because this is where the story shifts from memory to destiny. You may not hear from them today. You may not see a message tomorrow. But something deeper has already occurred. They no longer see you as a past possibility. They see you as a benchmark. And benchmarks are not easily forgotten. Something huge is waiting for you, not in their apology, not in their explanation, but in your realization that you were always operating at a higher frequency. You handled endings with grace. You handled silence with dignity. You handled uncertainty with growth. And now, when they think of you, it is not with confusion. It is with clarity. Here is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation. The reason you were meant to hear this is because doubt has no place in your future anymore. You were not too much. You were exactly enough. You were not wrong for loving deeply. You were courageous. And whether this person reappears or remains a chapter closed in peace, one truth remains unshaken. You were unforgettable. Not because you tried to be, but because you were real. And as this final understanding settles in, you move forward not wondering who is thinking about you, but knowing you have become someone worth remembering. That certainty is your power. And it changes everything. Something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface, and you can feel it even if you cannot yet see it. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. This person from your past is thinking about you at the exact moment you have stopped questioning your own worth. That timing is not random. For so long, you may have wondered if you were misunderstood, if your love was unappreciated, if your silence went unnoticed. But now, something has shifted. They are not just remembering you. They are revisiting the version of themselves who stood in front of you. And here is the revelation that changes everything. They realize they were not ready for someone like you. Don't skip this moment, because something huge is waiting for you in this final awakening. You were offering clarity while they were still navigating confusion. You were offering consistency while they were still learning commitment. You were offering depth while they were still testing the surface. And now, after growth, after reflection, after experience, they see it. They see that you were not too intense. You were intentional. Stay till the end, because this is where your story transcends the past completely. There is a quiet respect in their thoughts now. Not longing. Not desperation. Respect. They respect the way you walked away without trying to destroy what once mattered. They respect the way you healed without broadcasting your pain. They respect the way you elevated without needing applause. And that respect is powerful. Because when someone from your past thinks about you with admiration instead of assumption, the energy changes permanently. Something huge is waiting for you, not in proving yourself, but in realizing you never had to. You were always operating from truth. You were always aligned with growth. You were always ahead in emotional understanding. And now, whether they ever speak these words to you or not, one thing is certain. You were the catalyst. The awakening. The standard. And as this realization settles in your spirit, you no longer look back to see who is thinking about you. You move forward knowing your impact was real. And that quiet certainty is the beginning of everything new. A door you thought was sealed has quietly unlocked, but not in the way you expected. This is not about reopening the past. It is about revelation. This person from your past is thinking about you with a new awareness that feels almost surreal to them. They have replayed your last conversation in their mind. Not to argue with it. Not to rewrite it. But to understand it. And in that understanding, something unexpected happened. They finally saw your heart clearly. Don't skip this moment, because something huge is waiting for you inside this realization. There was a time when they misunderstood your silence. They thought it meant distance. They thought it meant indifference. Now they understand it meant strength. You were not withdrawing. You were protecting your peace. And that distinction changes everything. Stay till the end, because this is where the truth becomes undeniable. When someone matures enough to reinterpret your actions with clarity instead of ego, it means growth has taken place. They now recognize the patience you showed, the restraint you practiced, the depth you carried without demanding recognition. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation. They are not just thinking about you because they miss you. They are thinking about you because they respect you. Respect is rare. Respect is lasting. Respect does not fade when emotion cools. Something huge is waiting for you, not in chasing validation, but in standing firmly in the knowledge that your character left a permanent imprint. You handled endings without cruelty. You handled confusion without chaos. You handled heartbreak without losing yourself. And now, as they reflect, they see that clearly. Whether they reach out or remain silent is no longer the center of this story. The center is this. You were never insignificant. You were transformative. And as this awareness settles into both of you, the energy feels lighter, calmer, complete. Because sometimes the greatest reunion is not physical. It is emotional understanding that arrives long after the goodbye. This person from your past is thinking about you with clarity now. And that clarity confirms what you have already become. Unshakable. Unforgettable. Aligned. And from here, your path expands into something even greater. In the stillness of this very hour, a realization is settling into their heart that cannot be ignored. It is quiet. It is steady. And it is undeniable. This person from your past is not just thinking about you as a memory anymore. They are thinking about you as a turning point. There is a difference. A memory fades. A turning point reshapes everything that comes after it. Don't skip this moment, because something huge is waiting for you inside this final wave of awareness. They understand now that meeting you altered their expectations forever. You showed them what emotional honesty looks like. You showed them what consistency feels like. You showed them what depth truly means. And here is the surprising truth. Even if they never say it out loud, they have compared every meaningful connection since you to the standard you set. Not because you were flawless, but because you were authentic. Stay till the end, because this is where your story reaches its highest elevation. The reason you were meant to hear this is not to prepare you for their return. It is to anchor you in certainty. You were not a temporary phase in someone's life. You were a benchmark. Benchmarks do not disappear. They guide future decisions. Something huge is waiting for you, not hidden in their message, but rooted in your transformation. Because while they were learning to appreciate what you gave, you were learning to appreciate yourself. That is the real miracle. You are no longer seeking acknowledgement. You are embodying worth. And when someone from your past thinks about you with clarity, respect, and quiet admiration, it confirms something powerful. Your presence mattered. Your absence taught. Your growth inspired. This connection was never wasted. It was formative. And now, whether paths cross again or remain parallel, you walk forward without hesitation. Because you understand something deeper now. You were never forgotten. You were foundational. And from this moment on, your future is shaped not by who remembers you, but by who is ready to meet you at the level you have risen to. Right before a new chapter begins, there is always a moment of stillness that feels almost sacred. This is that moment. This person from your past is thinking about you not with longing, not with regret, but with profound understanding. And understanding is the rarest form of closure. They finally see the full picture. They see how your patience was not weakness. How your boundaries were not distance. How your calm was not indifference. It was maturity. Don't skip this, because something huge is waiting for you inside this realization. There was a time when they interpreted your strength through the lens of their own uncertainty. Now, they interpret it through growth. And the difference is extraordinary. Here is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation. They no longer question why you walked away. They admire that you had the courage to. That shift is powerful. Because when someone moves from confusion to admiration, the energy between you transforms permanently. Stay till the end, because this is where your transformation becomes undeniable. You once may have wondered if the connection meant as much to them as it did to you. Now you know. It did. It simply matured later. Sometimes people understand the value of something only after they grow into the capacity to hold it. And that is exactly what happened here. Something huge is waiting for you, not in waiting for their words, but in embracing your own evolution. Because while they were slowly realizing your worth, you were building a life that no longer depends on their realization.